CEO twins rejected all the food cooked by housemaids, except this poor maid. What happened? If you're just tuning into this channel, please subscribe and give this video a thumbs up and tell us where you're watching from. Your support means the world to us. In a land where wealth flowed like the Zambezi, a family's greatest treasure was slowly fading, not from illness, but from hunger, a hunger they couldn't explain and a food they couldn't touch. Inside the grand dining hall of the Essien mansion, the air hung heavy with a silence more profound than any sound. 12-year-old twins, Kaylin and Zara, sat before a meticulously prepared meal. A vibrant array of fresh fruits, tender meats, and steamed vegetables. Yet their gazes were distant, their small, pale hands listless. Their hollow eyes, set in faces growing increasingly gaunt, seemed to accuse the very opulence that surrounded them. Each dish, a culinary masterpiece from a world-renowned chef, remained untouched, a silent testament to a baffling medical anomaly, a quiet despair eating at the heart of their powerful family. These Essien heirs, meant to inherit a vast fortune, were mysteriously wasting away, rejecting every single morsel, and no one knew why. Have you ever felt a deep-seated fear for someone you love, watching them suffer without understanding why? Imagine having every resource at your disposal, yet being utterly powerless to save your own children, their lives slipping away day by day. What if the very comfort meant to nourish became a source of inexplicable torment? This isn't just picky eating. This is a terrifying, life-threatening enigma. The Essien twins' lives hang by a thread due to an inexplicable aversion to nearly all food, transforming their magnificent mansion into a hollow monument of regret, a place where wealth could buy anything but a single bite. But what if the key to their survival wasn't in scientific labs or culinary masterpieces, but in the most unexpected hands? What if the solution was so simple, so ancient, it had been overlooked by the world's finest? And what if that discovery led to a betrayal so cold, so calculating, it would shatter a family to its very core? Before we delve into this chilling tale of privilege, desperation, and a shocking conspiracy, hit that like button if you believe love can conquer any darkness, and share your initial thoughts on what could be ailing these children in the comments below. The sun, a fiery orb, shone down on the sprawling manicured estate nestled amidst the rolling hills of Zanzibar, a land known for its vibrant culture and ancient baobab trees. This was the domain of the Essien family, a name synonymous with immense wealth and formidable influence. Their fortune, vast and ever-growing, had been forged from the rich gemstone mines deep within the earth and expanded through pioneering ventures in cutting-edge technology. Their residence, a magnificent custom-built Zanzibarian mansion, was a testament to their prosperity. Its grandeur was breathtaking. Expansive courtyards adorned with shimmering fountains and rare, fragrant blooms, leading to interiors of polished marble and rich, hand-carved wood. The state-of-the-art kitchens, gleaming with the latest culinary equipment, were a testament to their pursuit of perfection in every aspect of life. At the helm of this empire was Chief Ben Carter Essien, a man whose reputation preceded him. He was a shrewd businessman, known for his unwavering determination and a mind as sharp as the diamonds his mines produced. His wife, Aisha Essien, moved through the highest social circles with an elegant poise that commanded respect. Together, they projected an image of unshakable success and familial bliss. Yet, beneath the veneer of privilege, lay a deep, gnawing anxiety. Their greatest treasures, their twin children, were afflicted by a mystery that defied their wealth, power, and every desperate attempt to find a cure. Their love for Kaylin and Zara was profound, a driving force behind their frantic, exhaustive search for answers. Kaylin, the elder by 7 minutes, possessed a quiet intensity that belied his young age. His eyes, though often reflective, missed nothing. An analytical mind was already at work, observing the world with an almost unnerving perceptiveness. Zara, his twin sister, was his counterpoint. Vivacious, outwardly charming. Her laughter, once a frequent melodic sound, now a rare, precious gift. They shared the identical striking features of their parents, a mirror image in form, yet profoundly divergent in personality. What truly bound them, however, was their shared, inexplicable food aversion. It was a secret affliction, a shared torment that no one else truly comprehended. The problem had begun subtly, dismissed initially as the fleeting whims of childhood picky eating, a rejected vegetable here, a half-eaten plate there. But slowly, insidiously, it had grown into an all-encompassing rejection. What started as minor dislikes soon extended to almost every type of food. The finest delicacies from around the world, prepared by world-renowned chefs brought in at exorbitant costs, were met with the same vacant stare and turn of the head. Nutritionists were consulted. Their tailored diets met with failure. Medical tests, comprehensive and countless, returned no results, baffling the most esteemed doctors who could find no physiological reason for the twins' inability to eat. Their healthy bodies were simply refusing sustenance. The consequences were dire and visible. The twins, once robust and energetic, grew increasingly gaunt, their slender limbs now frail, their ebbing energy a constant source of agony for their parents. Aisha's once bright face was now etched with worry, and Chief Essien's formidable demeanor sometimes cracked under the strain of mounting panic. The affliction had a domino effect on the entire household staff. The kitchens, once bustling with creative energy, became a place of quiet anxiety, a pressure cooker of expectation and almost guaranteed failure. There was a revolving door of exasperated cooks and disheartened maids, each one entering with hope, only to leave in frustration. Chef contracts became complex, laden with clauses, promising hefty bonuses for success and imposing severe penalties for perceived failures. The monumental waste of discarded, untouched food piled up, a grim symbol of their escalating despair. The mystery became the family's most closely guarded secret, a source of constant worry and quiet despair that permeated every corner of the vast Essien estate. It was a torment that no amount of money or power could solve, leaving Chief Essien and Aisha adrift in a sea of hopelessness, their children slowly slipping away before their very eyes. Into this household, shrouded in quiet despair, stepped Annika. She was a young woman from a humble village nestled deep within the verdant valleys of Zanzibar, a place renowned for its strong community bonds and the preservation of ancient traditions. Her appearance was unassuming, yet her eyes held a quiet determination, reflecting a spirit shaped by resilience. Annika carried with her an innate empathy, a gentle understanding that extended beyond words. She had sought employment at the Grand Essien mansion not out of ambition, but out of necessity. Her ailing mother required costly treatments, and her younger siblings depended on her for support. The vast wealth of the Essiens meant little to her beyond the prospect of securing her family's well-being. Annika's culinary training was far from formal. It was an education forged not in prestigious academies, but over years spent by her grandmother's side. Her grandmother was a revered village healer and cook, whose wisdom was rooted in the land itself. From her, Annika learned to identify the subtle whispers of medicinal herbs, to understand the rhythms of the earth, and to prepare food not just as sustenance, but as comfort, as a conduit for cherished memories, and as a powerful symbol of care. Every ingredient was chosen with intention, every dish prepared with a deep respect for its origins and properties. She understood food as a living thing, imbued with spirit and healing potential, a philosophy starkly different from the scientific precision of the mansion's dismissed chefs. Annika's initial days within the Essien household were spent in careful observation. She watched the relentless cycle of culinary hope and bitter disappointment, the parade of frustrated staff, and most heartbreakingly, the pale, listless twins. Unlike the parade of culinary experts who focused on elaborate presentations and exotic ingredients, Annika's approach was different, born of instinct. She observed the twins closely, their fleeting glances at certain dishes, the subtle shifts in their expressions when a new aroma filled the air. their absolute disinterest in anything processed or overly rich. She noticed the slight flicker in Zara's eyes when she saw a plate of fresh, vibrant berries, and the almost imperceptible shiver of disgust from Kaylin at the smell of roasted meats. She began to understand that their aversion was not a simple rejection, but a profound disconnection, as if their bodies were rejecting something fundamentally wrong. The turning point came during a quiet afternoon. Annika was cleaning near the twins' study, her movements soft, almost imperceptible. She overheard their tutor, a kind elderly woman, trying to coax Zara into eating a small piece of fruit. The tutor sighed, reminiscing aloud. "It's a pity. You both used to love the wild berries your grandmother brought from the village when you were very young. So sweet and full of life." This detail, dismissed as insignificant by everyone else, resonated deeply with Annika. It sparked a profound idea, a connection to her own village traditions, where wild berries and native herbs were not just food, but medicine, steeped in generations of knowledge. The tutor's words were a key, unlocking a path no one else had considered. With a quiet act of defiance, Annika decided to follow her intuition. Under the cloak of night, she ventured alone beyond the manicured gardens of the mansion, heading towards a remote wilderness spot she remembered from her own childhood. Guided by moonlight and her grandmother's teachings, she carefully gathered a small basket of specific wild berries, along with restorative herbs and roots, known for their gentle, nourishing properties. These were ingredients that spoke of the land and its ancient wisdom, far removed from the sterile environment of the Essien kitchen. Back in the quiet early hours before dawn, Annika began her preparation. She chose simple, unassuming methods. She crushed the berries and herbs, mixing them with a touch of local honey and water, simmering them slowly to create a porridge, light, aromatic, and deeply comforting. The aroma, subtly earthy and sweet, was unlike anything typically found in the Essien kitchen. She presented it to the twins at breakfast, a small bowl each, unassuming amidst the usual discarded platters. Kaylin and Zara eyed it with their usual skepticism, but something in the gentle steam, perhaps the familiar scent of the wild berries from long ago, held their attention. Kaylin, always the more cautious, took a hesitant bite. His eyes widened slightly. Then Zara, watching her brother intently, followed suit. A gasp rippled through the room from the few staff present as the twins, for the first time in months, finished the entire meal. The transformation was immediate and profound. Relief washed over Chief Essien and Aisha, a wave so powerful it brought Aisha to tears. Annika, the humble housemaid, became an overnight sensation within the household, though she remained grounded, untouched by the sudden attention. The twins, once withdrawn and listless, began to show a subtle preference for Annika. Their expressions softened in her presence. A spark, long extinguished, began to flicker in their eyes. Annika didn't just cook for them. She spoke to them through her food, simple, nutritious, infused with the pure, untainted flavors of the land. She continued to use rare, fresh ingredients, harvested with care, and the twins, slowly but steadily, regained their strength, their laughter a faint but growing melody in the vast mansion. As Annika brought a flicker of hope to the Essien family, a new bond formed. If you're captivated by this unfolding mystery, subscribe to Grandora Stories and hit the notification bell so you don't miss the shocking truth behind the twins' affliction. With each passing day, Annika's role within the Grand Essien household transformed from that of a housemaid to an indispensable lifeline. The twins' improvement was dramatic, a wondrous sight to behold. Their health returned with a vibrancy that shocked even the doctors who had been so baffled by their ailment. Their energy surged, their engagement in studies blossomed, and the playful curiosity that had long been absent returned, filling the mansion with a forgotten lightness. They were not merely eating, they were thriving. Annika, witnessing this profound change, found a purpose that transcended mere financial security. She began to spend more time with Kaylin and Zara, sharing not just food, but moments that nourished their spirits. She taught them about the delicate balance of plants, the wisdom of nature, and shared captivating village stories passed down through generations. Tales of resilient heroes who overcame great odds and mischievous spirits who taught valuable lessons. These stories, steeped in the vibrant culture of Zanzibar, transported the twins from their gilded cage, opening their minds to a world beyond the mansion walls. Kalen, with his quiet intensity, asked insightful questions about the plants and the meaning behind the tales, while Zara's rare melodic laughter began to echo through the corridors once more. A unique bond of trust and understanding deepened between the three of them, a connection built on Annika's genuine care and the twins' absolute faith in her. The Essien parents, witnessing their children's miraculous recovery, were overcome with profound gratitude. Chief Essien and Aisha expressed their thanks with lavish offers, substantial bonuses, promises of education abroad, and even a house of her own. But Annika, with her quiet dignity, politely declined. Her focus remained on the intuitive connection she shared with the twins, the empathy that guided her hands as she prepared their food. For her, the reward was in their blooming health, not in material gain. Her simple, heartfelt connection was more valuable than any fortune. However, Annika's success, though a beacon of hope for the Essiens, was not universally welcomed. The household was a complex ecosystem, and her triumph cast a shadow over others. The chefs who had been dismissed and other long-standing staff who felt their positions threatened harbored a growing resentment. Whispers began to circulate, hushed and insidious. They spoke of village magic, hinting at dark, unclean methods that Annika supposedly employed, fueling superstition and fear among the older staff who clung to their established ways. The head chef, a man whose pride had been deeply wounded by Annika's quiet ascendancy, became the main architect of these malicious rumors. He accused Annika of usurpation, painting her as an opportunist who was secretly poisoning the twins with strange concoctions from the wilderness, twisting her innocent remedies into something sinister. He fed the staff's insecurities, turning their unease into outright suspicion. The household became subtly divided, a tension that hummed beneath the surface of the mansion's renewed peace. The Essien parents, consumed by the overwhelming relief of their children's recovery, remained oblivious to the undercurrents of resentment. They saw Annika as nothing less than a godsend, a miracle worker who had achieved what all others had failed to do. In their eyes, she was beyond reproach, an angel who had saved their family. This tragic blindness, born of their boundless joy and relief, unknowingly set the stage for a devastating turn of events, leaving them vulnerable to the deceit brewing within their own walls. Life in the Essien mansion had settled into a fragile equilibrium. The twins, no longer gaunt shadows, were thriving, their laughter a genuine sound that filled the grand halls. Annika, though revered, maintained her quiet dignity, diligently overseeing their meals and continuing her gentle bond with the children. A sense of calm, albeit delicate, had returned to the family's world. To celebrate the twins' renewed health and their upcoming birthday, Chief Essien decided to host a grand celebration, a feast to mark their return to vitality. For the occasion, he spared no expense, commissioning the import of the most exotic fruits, including a rare consignment of delicate, expensive, moon-kissed mangoes, known for their exquisite sweetness and shimmering golden hue. While meticulously preparing a special breakfast for Kalen and Zara, Annika's instincts, honed by years of her grandmother's indigenous knowledge, sent a warning through her. As she handled the moon-kissed mangoes, she noticed a faint, almost imperceptible greenish tinge on their skin, accompanied by a subtly acrid undertone in their otherwise sweet scent. It was a deviation from their perfect freshness, a subtle anomaly that would escape most, but not her. Trusting her profound inner wisdom, she discreetly separated these tainted fruits, setting them aside for proper disposal, ensuring they would never reach the twins' plates. A short while later, she overheard the head chef in the main kitchen, his voice unusually agitated, questioning other staff about some missing mangoes. He seemed to suspect theft. Annika, always eager to avoid confrontation and trusting in her quiet actions, decided not to draw attention to herself. She assumed he would find them or simply write off the loss. This seemingly minor decision, born of discretion, would prove to be a crucial step, unknowingly sealing her fate. The fragile piece shattered into chaos a few hours later. Chief Essien, inspecting the day's provisions for the celebration, discovered that the rare, moon-kissed mangoes he had personally ordered had been replaced with unripe, common varieties. Simultaneously, a more grave discovery was made. The seraph's dust, a rare, costly, ceremonial spice kept under lock and key in the pantry, was missing. It was a substance of immense cultural significance and considerable monetary value, almost never used for cooking, but rather in symbolic rites. The mansion instantly descended into a flurry of accusations and panicked searching. The head chef, fueled by his long-simmering resentment towards Annika, seized the opportunity. He immediately pointed his finger at her, his voice ringing with false conviction. He twisted the truth, claiming Annika had pilfered the precious mangoes and replaced them, and then, with theatrical indignation, accused her of stealing the seraph's dust for magical concoctions from her village. A direct appeal to the baseless rumors he had already spread. The Essien parents, caught between their gratitude for Annika and the gravity of the accusations, wavered. The circumstantial evidence, though flimsy to an impartial observer, seemed compelling when presented by the head chef's cunning. His insidious suggestions about Annika's methods, which had previously been ignored, now began to take root. Annika's quiet act of setting aside the mangoes, intended as a protective measure, was twisted by the chef into an act of suspicious concealment. The missing seraph's dust, a substance so culturally significant, was a grave matter indeed, lending a weight to the chef's claims that pushed the Essiens towards doubt. Annika, stunned by the sudden, aggressive accusations, struggled to defend herself. She explained with earnest honesty about the spoiled mangoes she had set aside and vehemently denied any involvement in stealing the seraph's dust. Her simple, truthful explanation, however, lacked the drama and calculated malice of the head chef's narrative. His cunning, well-rehearsed lies, delivered with feigned outrage and supported by the fearful whispers of other staff, easily drowned out her quiet, undramatic plea for understanding. The scales of justice, already tipped by prejudice and desperation, were now poised to fall against her. Chief Essien, a man meticulously protective of his family's impeccable standing, understood that a public scandal could cast a long, damaging shadow. Opting for discretion, he chose a swift, internal trial to settle the matter of the missing spice and tainted fruit. This closed-door proceeding was far from impartial, heavily influenced by the head chef's cunning and Chief Essien's underlying fear of reputation being tarnished. The trial was a sham from its very inception. Annika stood alone, without any powerful allies, facing not just the head chef, but also several disgruntled staff members who, swayed by rumors and personal grievances, readily corroborated his fabricated story. Her simple truths were easily overshadowed by their well-rehearsed fabrications and the weight of their combined accusations. Her village honesty stood no chance against such calculated deceit. Kaelin and Zara, sensing the deep injustice unfolding, displayed visible distress. They tried desperately to speak for Annika, their young voices filled with a heartfelt conviction. They insisted on her honesty, recounting how her food had brought them back to health. But their words were summarily dismissed by their parents as nothing more than childish affections, deemed irrelevant in the face of what appeared to be concrete evidence. Kaelin's quiet, analytical attempt to explain Annika's genuine actions was brushed aside by his father, who was too preoccupied with the accusations of theft and deceit. Zara's emotional plea to her mother, filled with unshed tears, was met with a gentle but firm deferral to her husband's judgment. The twins' innocent pleas only intensified their own feeling of helplessness. The circumstantial evidence, meticulously manipulated by the head chef, mounted against Annika. The discarded mangoes she had set aside, intended as protection, were presented as proof of her guilt. The missing ceremonial spice, a grave matter in the Essien household, sealed her fate. Chief Essien, prioritising his family's unblemished